1.2 mil in all retirement, pretty much. Mostly mutual funds, a little bit of stock.
I'd like to thank my staff. They do this. They do this.
Hey, Dave, glad to be here.
Thank you for joining us. So you have a net worth of over $1 million. What's your net worth, sir?
You didn't average over 100. And what do you do for a living? What do y'all do for a living, both of you?
I'm a systems engineer.
I did everything imaginable that you have to do in a restaurant business. I could not have worked any harder.
Number 5, Kenny. Kenny is a millionaire worth a cool 20 mil on the market, and he decided to join the Dave Ramsey Show to throw a few truth bombs his way. When asked how he did it, the king of Raleigh, North Carolina, has only one fairy godmother to credit, and that is Providence.
Hey, Dave, glad to be here.
Thank you for joining us. So you have a net worth of over $1 million. What's your net worth, sir?
That if you just work hard and you do what you love and you're passionate about what you do, you'll be successful.
I guess it's probably around 20 million.
Pretty cool. That's sweet.
When I started Highway 55 in 1991, I worked every day, open to close.
Yeah.
And how in the world did you do that?
And I did that for 2 years. Open to close means 10 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night.
Oh, I was very lucky and inherited everything, Dave. No, that's not exactly how it happened.
You just blew my whole setup.
That meant I cooked burgers, I washed dishes. Actually, I didn't wash dishes. That was like the one thing I refused to do.
What's wrong with you, Kenny?
Well, I fell off the back of a turnip truck here in North Carolina and, and just got paid on it is what it was. No.
I did everything imaginable that you have to do in a restaurant business. I could not have worked any harder.
It was a lot of things, but there was really just one key moment.
I was also real passionate about what I did back then, too, and I still am today, as you can hear in my voice.
Probably as much as anything. I started my company, it's a restaurant chain.
About business for the next 45 minutes. That's just how I was. I was very passionate about what we had. I believe we had great food.
But was it that easy? With only one $500 bill in his pocket and an 18-month-old depending on him, he started out broke. Instead of partying it away into the night, he opened a restaurant chain by the name of Highway 55 with it and poured his heart and soul into it for 20 years.
Started it 24 years ago.
Which restaurant chain?
What's that?
What restaurant chain is it?
It's called Highway 55.
But at the end of year one, I was $35,000 behind on my food bill.
Well, no wonder you're worth $20 million. Yeah, that's awesome, man. So no wonder you're worth $20 million. How many stores have y'all got?
I had an 18-month-old son that I only got to see briefly in the morning because he was long asleep by the time I got home at night.
There's 115 now. We're in 8 states, soon to be 10, and 2 foreign countries. Just opened up in Denmark.
To see my wife, and she was basically running the household by herself while I went off and chased this American dream, flipping hamburgers.
150 restaurants in soon to be 10 states with 2 overseas operations, one of which happens to be in Denmark, is how his doggedness was rewarded. How did it all start, you ask? By investing that $500 bill in a down-on-its-luck restaurant, getting down and dirty on his knees and doing some DIY reconstruction work to prop up a new restaurant under his name. By the end of year 2, he had 5 restaurants operating under his belt. Those days were filled with 12-hour shifts, taking on multiple roles from manager to cook, and getting into the nitty-gritties of it to ensure success.
Started with literally nothing. I'd fired from a job, $500 in my pocket, and an 18-month-old son at home.
I went home that night and I laid in the bed and I stared at the ceiling and I still smelled of faint onions and peppers.
Doing a little construction and remodeling closed stores is kind of how I got going.
Gotcha.
It's not about me. I'm going to see how many other people I can help become successful.
Going to auction sales and
so
buying
most
equipment.
of your net worth is in the restaurant chain, I assume.
Yes.
And I'll start going and spit will be flying everywhere. You leave with a little Kenny DNA today.
Also franchisor. I'm a franchisor, so we have franchisees out there.
Okay, but you didn't inherit anything.
No.
How about that little girl that came up here and sang the national anthem? She happens to be my daughter. Gentlemen, she's 15.
Your average income through those years must have been pretty spectacular.
Not in the early years.
All the while making a measly $2.60 an hour. What kept him going was his passion, which he had in spades. It certainly wasn't his 2.5 GPA at college. Grit and single-minded determination alongside the hard work turned him rich. And here's what sets this millionaire apart from the get-rich-quick and lose-it-all-in-a-decade yahoos. At 52 years of age and a $20 million net worth, this rich guy lives a life of frugality with just one fully paid-for Maserati by his side. So what turned his dwindling assets into riches?
I'd like to thank my staff. They do this.
They do this.
You know, in the early years, one time, as a matter of fact, the first year I was in business, I remember adding it up. I worked open to close every day.
It ain't just burgers. And you know, we come from all walks of life. There's tall ones of you. There's short ones of you.
I think we figured it out one time, it's about $2.60 an hour, $2.60 an hour the first year I was in business. Yeah.
Y'all get it. It's about living your life with some passion. Being here today, you've shown some passion. There are some people that didn't make this trip.
I was passionate about my $2.60 an hour job and what we were trying to accomplish. Yep.
Being here today, you're showing that you're passionate about something, and it's not about what you get paid either. See, I think that's where sometimes it gets missed.
Straight from the horse's mouth, it was the realization that it's not about you, it's about everyone else. From that point onwards, Kenny made his employees invested in making the business work by offering them shares within his company, and this falling star turned supernova within 6 months.
Believe it or not, in the very early days, I could see 20. Even at the end of year one, when I was $35,000 behind on my food bills.
It's about working for a company that cares about you. It's about you caring about your neighbor out there. That's what it's all about.
What's your GPA in college?
Now, I did wake up in college. I grew up a little bit, and I ended up with about a 2.5.
And work hard, and you'll be successful. Well, I'm here today to tell you that's not enough. And I'm living proof of it.
What are you laughing at? I think that's
a
pretty
GPA
good,
point per 10 million, yeah.
I'm a guy that started a company 25 years ago almost now, give or take. 25 years ago, and I'm a guy that started with $500 in his pocket.
Wow. The owner of Highway 55 Restaurants, $20 million net worth, our first call in.
And thanks to people like you, we are now approaching $75 million in sales. That's amazing.
He started a restaurant some 20, 30 years ago called Highway 55.
But it's not Kenny Moore that made that happen. You see, I was just a guy that started out flipping some burgers.
Now he's got stores all over America, net worth of $20 million, and had an average GPA in college of 2.5.
Number 4, Dan. Dan, from south of Washington, D.C., is the proud owner of a $2 million nest egg with his wife. Apparently a systems engineer and a financial analyst is a match made in heaven, and your get-rich-quick card, but was this quick really? Dan's rise in fortune took 27 years of hard work, and at 51 years of age, this guy has finally started enjoying the fruits of his labor. Or has he? His riches are invested in a 401k, real estate, and stocks, so he doesn't keep his cash liquid.
My wife and I were a little over $2 million, or right at that amount.
Okay, excellent.
1.2 mil in all retirement, pretty much. Mostly mutual funds, a little bit of stock.
And how old are you?
51.
51. Okay, so you've been working, what, 25 years?
About 27. We have a home, rental property, and also we bought a condominium at the beach about 5 years ago.
And your income now, household income?
It's a little over 200. My wife said, "You're not doing that without me," and unfortunately, she couldn't be here today.
Okay, well, we'll schedule that later for you. You didn't average over 100. And what do you do for a living? What do y'all do for a living, both of you?
I'm a systems engineer.
Dan was not a product of a rich family background. His only leg up he received from his middle-class parents was a paid-for college education, which was the biggest boon imaginable at that time. Not hemmed in on all sides by tuition debts, the only law Dan and his wife lived by was to live frugally and save money from their weekly income. What's the advice from the guru of wealth? Living below your means and not getting into a social climbing race is the way to getting rich. Number 3, Rachel. Rachel from Denver has hit the jackpot at 57 in her life. What's the goose giving her golden eggs, you ask? From a marketer to an IT manager, Rachel has upgraded her profession exponentially. With hubby in sales, this dynamic duo is raking in upwards of $200,000 annually, and it's all invested in 401ks, real estate, IRAs, annuities, you name it, she's in it. What's the most this couple has indulged in by way of luxuries? They've been big car buyers, which has been their only break from frugality. Always shopping at retail stores has been their lifestyle marker, an indicator of their focus on saving for a rainy day. Do they hoard it for themselves? Certainly not. They pay it forward by donating to the synagogue and the Diabetes Foundation. So who or what does Rachel credit for achieving her American dream? It all boils down to sacrificing your dreams by living below your means, all the while working hard and investing each penny saved in real estate. Number 2, Jeremy and Victoria. Jeremy and Victoria have stumbled across a pot of gold, pretty young in their lives, which is worth $1.2 million. Just in their 30s, this couple must be living a life of luxury. right? Wrong. Each and every penny is invested in retirement funds and real estate. At just 33 and 36, this couple is on its way to becoming a part of America's financial cream. A marketing degree with a 3.8 GPA is proof positive that Jeremy has always been a hard worker, and he has carried his philosophy through into adulthood. The couple capitalized on their debt-free status by putting a nest egg away and investing it wisely. Both are proud of their middle-class roots and have no blue blood running through their veins. They are a product of hard work, wise investments, and a frugal lifestyle, which has done them good by turning them into millionaires. Though some might diss Victoria's stay-at-home mom status and judge her for not contributing financially to her husband's cause, she has done wonders and stood by her man like a warrior goddess. She has run an incredibly tight ship, never spending more than $50 on a pair of jeans or splurging money on luxury items. This duplet has a bright future ahead, and it all boils down to three things: staying debt-free, living frugally, and investing savings. Number 1, Glenn. Glenn from Oklahoma shares $5.5 million with his wife, and he made it all by working as a roughneck drilling engineer for an oil rig. His life was spent working all over the world for oil companies due to his degree in petroleum engineering. His graduation had sealed his fate closely with petroleum companies. Putting 75% of his savings in stocks and mutual funds, the rest in IRA and in cash, has made him safe from any hardships of a rainy day. The last gift Glenn received from his deceased father was $250,000 in inheritance. Though it did help, Glenn was already a millionaire by then, which chucks the theory out the window that his good fortune might be founded on the silver spoon he was born with in his mouth. So what are Glenn's views on philanthropy? He believes in helping humanity by giving it a cut from his earnings. He did it when he was making $4 an hour, and he still does it after crossing over into the Millionaires Club. His philanthropic ventures are far and wide. He has always given to the church and has invested his father's money in a scholarship, which would be a perpetual venture. So what have been Glenn's major indulgences in his millionaire existence? The most expensive jeans he has ever bought was $100, and he has been guilty of being the owner of a total of 8 cars in his entire life. So what's been Glenn's formula that's raised him from rags to riches? Work hard, avoid debt, and live below your means. That's all we have for you, folks. Please join us next time.